Hello and welcome to Truth Bombs. My name is Johanna and I go by Rutabaga on Blue Sky. Let's talk about doing something like Truth Bombs. Information is power, which gives us courage, combats chaos, and helps us to focus. And that is what Truth Bombs are about, information. I want to make a very strong distinction between the need to keep people informed and influencing people to do something like get engaged, take action, vote. Both types of information are just as important, but they're not the same. Not all information influences people, and truth bombs are about influencing people. This is a slow action. It will take time, which is frustrating because we want results now, and it must be sustained for it to work. And we must keep doing it while we still have time to educate voters before the midterms. I did a lot of thinking and wondered why didn't our warnings about MAGA work? We were never more organized, more motivated, more well-funded, registered more voters, had such a deep bench of great candidates, had a monster as an adversary, and yet nationally, our 2024 voter count went down significantly. Simply put, we are not reaching or influencing voters at the same rate as they are because, and this is critical to understand, national issues don't motivate voters to vote. If they did, we would have won in a landslide. Speaking of MAGA, please stop thinking of them, trying to understand them, worrying about how they'll respond, trying to convince them. They are in a cult that is being fed a completely different reality based on lies. No matter what you say to them, they can't hear you. There is literally nothing you can do to influence them, and the more you try, the more hardened they become. So saving democracy does not depend on them waking up. It depends on waking up the independents and the 37% who stayed home in November. Truth bombs are not about connecting the national news to local voters. It's the opposite. It's about blaming local issues on national leaders. Remember, engagement is where the home is. Or, as former House Speaker Tip O'Neill famously observed, all politics is local. And Democrats have forgotten that. Finally, for the past 8 years, I've refused to say his name. So believe me, I share your reluctance to use it. In this Zoom, where not absolutely necessary, I am using a pseudonym, and it may not be PG. In case you hadn't noticed, politics has changed radically in the past 10 years, and yet we are still playing defense. Our messaging is scattered and ineffective, and it isn't reaching or motivating people to get involved or even to vote. When we share national news, voters are asking, what's that got to do with me? And we are failing to make the connection. 1/3 of voters didn't vote because they didn't have information that affected them personally. That's important. Independent voters said, nobody asked me what I thought or cared, so I just stayed home and hid from all the politics. Truth bombs center around our neighbors and answer the question, what's that got to do with me? Our 2024 loss was due to many issues, but king of them all was disinformation. They basically won with memes. Remember the Biden I did that stickers on all the gas pumps? Just 3 words, 8 letters changed the national narrative on gas prices. The meme was personal. It hit people where they live. People who go to work use gas, period. Memes are now how many people communicate information. Using memes to deliver disinformation, MAGA convinced enough Americans that fascism is preferable to democracy. Memes are effective. Why wouldn't we use this technique to save democracy? The sitting president has always been blamed for everything, and truth bombs will blame Count Flatula and by extension Republicans for every factual bad thing. If you're still skeptical about memes, here are some statistics. 60% of social media users share memes. 75% of 13 to 35-year-olds share memes. Meme campaigns have 10 times more reach than traditional ones. 77% of Gen Z communicate with memes. 60% of all memes are political. And who are we trying to motivate? The youth vote. A truth bomb is simply a photo or a video meme depicting factual news stories from anywhere in the United States, issues at the city, county, district, or state level. And unlike news articles, they only take 2 seconds to read. And in a moment, I will explain why this is critical. You can make a truth bomb out of any local news in any city or state as long as you include the address in the state, and then tag journalists local to the story. Truth bombs must have a photo. It can be a photo taken by you or someone you know, or a screenshot of a news story from a reputable publication. You can include the headline. The best truth bombs, however, are with photos you or your friends and families take. Our target audience are independent journalists. Social media is the new town square. People, especially young people, are getting their news from independent journalists on social media. But they cannot be everywhere. We will be their news scouts, feeding them stories we want them to cover. If you don't believe social media had an outsized influence on voters, just look at Elon. He didn't buy a cable news show or a newspaper. Elmo bought Twitter, the largest social media platform in the world. So, why not appeal directly to voters? Do you trust news from random people on the internet? I don't. The sad truth is Americans are illiterate. According to the National Literacy Institute, over 50% of Americans read at the 6th grade level. 21%, that's 1 in 5 Americans, can't read at all. Republicans have created education deserts, and it's only going to get worse. Donvic McFellen signed an EO dismantling the Department of Education. The bottom line is illiterate people vote. When you can't read, words become the enemy, and we keep using words. Republicans have also created news deserts. For the first time in the past 2 decades, national newspaper employment has dropped below 100,000 positions. 20 US states have fewer than 1,000 employees remaining in the newspaper industry. We are in a local news crisis. A study found that solidly red states such as Texas, Kentucky, Arkansas, Idaho, Montana, Mississippi had the highest concentration of counties with limited or no access to local news. 91% of those counties voted for Yam Tits in 2024. Most of these news deserts are in rural counties, which dominate the Electoral College. This lack of information opens the door to disinformation. The consequences of news deserts are more political corruption, higher taxes, lower bond ratings, greater social alienation and isolation, disenfranchisement, and rising misinformation. When there is a void in local news, it tends to fill with right-wing rhetoric and conspiracies. Newspapers and reporters are a check on government. When voters do have access to local news, it increases split-ticket voting, which moderates the partisan drift. We want that. So even if Tangerine Terror blames Dems and Biden's and Hillary and Hunter Biden's laptop for everything, voters armed with information will not be so easily fooled. But since 2004, between 1,300 and 1,400 communities that had their own newspapers now have no coverage at all. And that orange pus bag just cut the funding for rural broadband. Information is a weapon, and voters have been disarmed. Where do I find local news? You. We all need to take our eyes off the national news and focus on the world directly around us. You are the best source for local news. Pay attention as you drive around town. Closed businesses, graffiti, potholes. That is the level of news we're looking for. Leave the big news items for regular posts. Talk to your friends, family, neighbors. Ask people you know in red states or who live in news deserts what's happening in their town. Enlist them to take pictures for you. Community resources include publications focusing primarily on local events. Read city council proposals, bills, measures, or community newsletters covering school news or neighborhood updates. Check out local blogs and hyperlocal websites or neighborhood sections within local larger newspaper outlets. And encourage your friends and family in red states to do the same. Social media is another good place. Your friends' Facebook, Insta, whatever feeds, the next door neighbor app. Everybody complains about something. Those are the truth bomb issues. And finally, news aggregators. Sites like 50states.com or other news aggregator sites offer one-stop shopping for news stories in every state. These are convenient sources, but they tend to be stories at the state level, and we really want to try and make them much smaller and much more local. Remember, the local stories which inspire people to take action. If you ever have walked into a cloud of gnats, you know the power of tiny. Where do I find local journalists? On social media. Pair your truth bomb with the right journalist is the last step. Find them by using the search function on whatever platform you're posting on and enter the city or state and then reporter or journalist, like Los Angeles Reporter or Los Angeles Journalist. On Blue Sky, look for starter packs on journalists or search for reporters writing about your topic. Search by topic for reporters. Your truth bombs are more likely to be seen by smaller accounts. Large accounts will never see you. Also use search engines on the internet. Search for town and city level outlets and look for their reporters. Same thing for state level outlets. Search for independent journalists or search by topic in your truth bomb state. We are creating a comprehensive national state-by-state free database for journalists. It includes which beats they cover. Lists. On Blue Sky, I've compiled lists by state of journalists who post on Blue Sky, but they're not complete since journalists are constantly joining the platform, and I haven't quite caught up, but those lists are there now for anyone to use. I'm not the only person urging folks to go local. So are leading voices on the left. In writing for the New Republic, reporter Jason Lincoln says, liberals need to identify the problems that real Americans face and more forcefully blame Jabba the Gut for those problems' continued existence. Our patron saint of democracy, Mark Elias, urges us to cultivate and amplify new communication methods and messengers. Truth bombs. Truth bombers. Identify and promote our best messengers and pair them with the most influential platforms. Journalists, social media. Truth bomb memes only include 3 things. On the meme, put blame Trump at the top. It negatively links the treason weasel and by extension Republicans to every problem, issue, disaster we truth bomb about. It also focuses our collective energy and attention, which are being shattered on a regular basis. Include a photo or a photo with a headline. Include the location. An address is best, an intersection, a city, nothing beyond the state level, and the date. This data makes the photo verifiable for journalists and inspires confidence and trust in potential voters. This is what a post looks like. Tag your journalists, get their attention, legitimize the truth bomb, and separate it from anyone else using the hashtag. Use journalists local to your truth bomb. Add the truth bomb hashtag, it's # for us older folks, and then add the meme. If you're truth bombing a news story, you can post the link to the story as a reply to your own post, not in the post itself. Don't add anything else. Truth bombs are designed to provoke curiosity and have people look up the stories themselves. They're meant to spark discussion, and so far they have. Turn national stories into local ones, like this example with egg prices. Personalize issues. Photos of just headlines is just a photo of words. Your truth bombs must contain a photo. Family separations was a powerful headline, but that picture of the tiny girl crying next to her mother being arrested put a face on the horror and told a bigger story. A great rule of thumb is if you can't put an address on it, even a specific state, it's not a truth bomb. The more specific the address, the better the truth bomb. Find local manifestations about national issues, something your neighbors might personally encounter. Their mini-mart raided, campgrounds closed, hospitals closing, Nazi or racist symbols at their kids' school. The smaller, more local the issue, the better. We influence people by showing them issues that affect their daily commute, their shopping, their job, their health, their social life, their retirement. It's human nature. We don't care until it personally affects us. Non-negotiable truth bomb rules. Truth bombs must depict a local factual issue at the city, town, neighborhood, district, or state level. Truth bombs don't have to be local to you, but the journalist should be local to the story. I'll repeat that because that is the question we get asked the most. Truth bombs do not have to be local to you. You can be in California and make a truth bomb out of measles at a high school in Michigan. Just because you might live in a blue state or city doesn't mean you can't find local issues elsewhere. Truth bombs or videos must be taken by you, someone you know, or from a reputable publication. Truth bombs must depict negative things we can blame on the administration. Don't share unverifiable issues, anonymous quotes or opinions, or random facts. And never, ever share anything about Cheeto or MAGA. That not only amplifies their messaging, it also demotivates our people and makes them tune out. With regard to using images for publications, we are using them under fair use doctrine. Fair use is a U.S. law which allows a limited use of copyright material without permission from the copyright owner, typically for purposes like criticism, comment, and news reporting. Ignore the fact checkers. That means anyone saying that's a blue state problem, that's a Dem's fault. That is fact checking. And if MAGA does it, it means that we are disrupting their messaging. But it also means that we are getting through to them. Don't respond to them. Truth bombs are a bomb. You just drop it and go, especially if you drop it on Truth Social. Let people argue or discuss it, and it keeps it alive. It makes maybe some people want to investigate it. That's a good thing. Our goal is to replace their MAGA narrative with Clownegula is bad for America. If a Dem fact checks you, invite them to learn about truth bombs. What else can we do? Tell others. Share the truth bomb action with your groups. Post truth bombs on all your social media. Post in city or county specific Facebook groups. Repost or like other truth bombs. Create a truth bomb library for your groups. Recruit other truth bombers. If you have contacts with independent journalists, share truth bombs with them. If you know candidates or their campaigns, encourage them to use truth bombs. Post truth bombs for those who are unable to post them. Teach people how to create memes, or join our content creator team to find stories and create memes for others to use. Also, talk to young people. If you have access to a youth, find out what issues motivate them. Like, how quickly did Swifties do something en masse about Ticketmaster's handling of Taylor Swift's concerts? It personally mattered to them. Offline, print out truth bombs and post them in public places, street lamps, bus stops, or hand them out. This is especially easy and good thing to do for people who are not on social media but want to do truth bombs. You can use truth bombs at town hall meetings to demand action on those local issues. If officials don't have town halls, voters can call their office. If they're not answering the phones, stand outside their offices with printed truth bombs. They may not be there, but their staff is. And always, always notify your local media if you do an in-person event. Even if they don't show up, someday they might. Don't give up, persist. The database. As I mentioned earlier, there is currently no comprehensive national state-by-state free journalist database. We are creating that. So let us know if you want to help. Science backs this action because outrage sells. Outrage is highly engaging and it needs not be accurate to achieve its communication goal. It's why MAGA has been so wildly successful, but it's also why we can be too. Except we are going to make accurate, factual memes out of truly outrageous and real issues. Voters prefer Democratic policies. When voters don't know party affiliation, they prefer progressive policy solutions to conservative ones by wide margins. A whopping 71% of voters prefer Democratic healthcare legislation. Our strengths. If they're big and you're small, then you're mobile and they're slow. You're hidden and they're exposed. Being tiny has its strengths. One tiny grain of sand in your shoe literally makes you stop in your tracks. One mosquito in our room will have us up and swatting all night. Tiny can make us pay attention and take action if it affects us personally. Our truth bombs are the grain of sand, are the mosquito that makes people get up and do something like pay attention, get involved, vote. Our vulnerabilities. We can't keep track of it all. Nobody can. Shock doctrine is an actual strategy designed to overwhelm us and dissipate our energy and our focus. Nobody's immune to it, not even MAGA. Faced with overload, people become passive, disengaged, and despondent. Sound familiar? The flood of insane stories competes for our attention and fragments public discourse. Truth bombs are our shock doctrine to fragment MAGA narrative like a cloud of gnats. Truth bombs are a new social media action. They do not replace traditional forms of activism like text banking, phone banking, and all those things. Truth bombs are just another arrow in our quiver. The aim of truth bombs is to shift voters' attention from ideological fights that are impossible to win, like DEI, to kitchen table local issues like price of eggs and jobs. This motivates voters to participate and take action. It might also wean them from the purity and principle voting mentality and third-party protest votes. Truth bombs are meant to be shared and designed to get people talking about things that matter to them personally. And I say this with all my love, but if you are uncomfortable with any aspect of this action, of the phrase, of the hashtag, of using a MAGA technique, well, just choose a different action. There is no judgment. I want to close by sharing these inspiring words from Lisa Gilbert and Robert Weissman, co-presidents of Public Citizens, who are doing a bang-up job in fighting the coup. We have to make hope real. We have to make it a living, breathing thing. And that starts with working together and doing whatever we can, even if we don't see an immediate impact, even if it feels small, even if, especially if, it seems impossible. Thank you so much for your time. Now let's get out there and truth bomb the shit out of MAGA.